Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for this Week 6 edition of Inside the Zone. With us as always, Justin Kenny of the News Sentinel. And Justin, you're only guaranteed 10 games of high school football, 9 games in the regular season, 1 round in the playoffs. That's all you're guaranteed in the state of Indiana. So with Week 5 now in the rear view, we are halfway done with the season for many schools in Northeast Indiana. So let's talk about Midseason Awards. Obviously, we've had a lot of great performances individually. We're going to start there. Who is your MVP at this point in the season?
Well, after hours of studying and numbers crunching, Andrew McCormick of East Noble is my player of the year. 16 total touchdowns against 1 interception, completing 65% of his passes. I truly looked at it as a most valuable player. Who is the player that a team could not be without? And I think that's East Noble's Andrew McCormick has been phenomenal. Even against Cathedral, who in my opinion is the #1 team in the state, regardless of class, played pretty well. So 16-1 touchdown interception ratio. He is my MVP through the first half of the season.
And he was in my top 2, but I went with Mac Hippenhammer from Snyder. Hippenhammer's they've had some inconsistently recently offensively for that team, but he's kind of been the rock for them, helping them pull out a 23-17 win. Had that punt return for 50 yards for a touchdown, which was key as Homestead came back to make that one a ball game against the Spartans last week. Also, he's done a little bit of everything. Receiver, we've seen him at the quarterback position where they use him as a wildcat. Seen him throw a pass or 2.
Yep.
I believe he has 2 or 3 passing for 66.6%. He's just been a guy that has been the one consistent threat for them on Friday night. Christian Covington's been pretty darn good too.
Definitely.
But he's done really well. And also Trayvon McCarter from Woodland. His numbers are staggering when you look at yards per catch or yards per rush. He's got 16 total touchdowns so far this season for Woodland, albeit not against the same level of competition. We always kind of use that as a qualifier against Woodland. This guy would be good anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he is kind of on a crutch because he is doing against ACAC teams, whereas you put him anywhere in the SAC, he's probably putting up similar numbers. So he is kind of forgotten about because he's all the way out in Woodburn, not playing 4, 5, 6A opponents. But he's every bit as good as anybody in the city, and he's really proven it, and still only a junior.
Yeah, and so many weapons on that Woodland offense, too. I mean, Justin Durkis is throwing the ball pretty well, Jack Rhodes. I mean, Donald Garant has had over 500 yards receiving so far this year.
Solids.
So you could pick anybody, but he's kind of he's the one guy that you say, man, this guy's got speed. No matter where he plays, he could be doing it. Other guys that you considered, because New Haven's had a really good season, and you know, I think if you're a New Haven fan, you're kind of splitting votes between Nishan Jones and Keyshawn Moore because both have been fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I think they cancel each other out a little bit because they split the vote. Drew Schultz for Adams Central has been very good. And then your 2 guys too with Mac in there and Trayvon McCarter. So I think we covered it. We're so smart. We covered the majority of the front runners for right now.
One guy I didn't think people would think a lot about as far as an MVP goes, but because of what they lost and what he's been able to do, Jordan Presley out at Homestead's got almost 700 yards rushing. You lose a Division I quarterback, that meant they were going to heap, you know, I think more responsibility on Presley's shoulders, and he's really picked up the slack nicely for Homestead.
Yeah, definitely, and gives them a running threat, which you know, the last several years they may have struggled to have. So first when Kazai was in there, now Jaya Wright gives them a running threat to kind of take the pressure off the quarterback a little bit. And you saw them put a scare into Snyder last week, and they were really able to keep Snyder off balance in terms of passing and running, really balanced offense thanks to Presley.
And you mentioned your MVP was McCormick early on. You also have to take into account when you look at his numbers that they haven't played a game.
Yeah.
You know, a game that they would be highly favored to win.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at that, you know, the ratio 13 passing touchdowns, 3 additional rushing touchdowns, and he's done that through 4 games. So, you know, multiply that over an additional game, and his numbers are probably even more impressive.